If you can't clearly answer what AI has done for your revenue, your costs, or your speed, you're not running AI. AI is running you. Welcome to Walking Victory. Let's fix that.
Now available. Awakening I Am, Internal Awareness in an AI Age audiobook, and our Victory Builders platform, which integrated system for founders who execute, is open. Links in the description. Everything that we hear lately, AI, 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 AI. It's like the song, AI, AI, AI. But there's a part of this evolution, revolution, this new climate, whatever it is that you want to call it, that we are not talking about because we want to talk about the benefits of it. But in everything, there's a polarization, a low polarization. That says that on one end of the stick is love, the other end is hate, and we don't really know how thin the line is between love and hate, because then you have like, then you have disdain, and all these other adjectives that we've created to describe feelings that we probably can't describe. And that's where we are right now. AI is right now a part of the wild, wild west, I would say. So many new toys and trinkets and things that are happening on the surface that people are really just not knowing what things to do best. But today I want to take, and I'm a huge advocate about the pitfall of your agent solving the wrong problems within your organization. What are some of the blind spots that organizations are having as they lay off thousands of people in droves, and then realize that they still need the human connectivity? They still need the human driver behind the agent, and have to scurry back and look for people to come and fill positions and roles that they thought that agents could produce and resist. We're in at the threshold of something, but it's still being birthed at the same time. So imagine turning over your agency, your business, to infants that think on a high level. My name is NaRon Tillman. This is another episode of Walk in Victory, where we sit you at the feet of the masters and have conversations to help you evolve your life. Today's master is Patrick, and we're going to talk about the blind spots in AI.
Doing
How
so
are you,
well.
sir?
And there's one master, NaRon. I'm just one of the servants.
you have the mind of the bigger master, because he allows us, he touches us with it.
Yeah, I'm doing great. Thank you. It's just a pleasure and honor to be sitting here with you today, and looking forward to our conversation.
Yeah. So, what are some of the blind spots that you are seeing during this evolution, during this revolution?
Great question. We're talking about. There's patterns I think we're looking at, but I just want to maybe give a little context. I was with everyone when ChatGPT came in. I was a little bit blown away, and talking as a man of faith, but also a businessman, a consultant, business growth consultant, started looking at what AI was doing, and starting to see different patterns. And I've lived my life around the world. I'm from Canada originally. I've lived in Zimbabwe for several years. I've lived in Japan for 12 years. I've lived in Kenya for 4 or 5 years. Now living in Europe, in Portugal. And, you see patterns, but often you don't see them while you're in the middle of it, because you're just trying to run a business and trying to keep up and survive the week. And you're not really stepping back to analyze patterns at the time, but it's later maybe looking back across countries, and you think there's similar internal problems, even though everything looks different on the surface. And, like Japan was just, people are so slow to decide things, but they're very structured. And in Kenya, things move fast, but they might lack stability. And North America, there's a lot of activity, but not always real traction. In Europe, they're a lot more cautious as well. And it always comes back to me to three different things. There's clarity, there's ownership, there's visibility. And people just aren't clear on what actually matters. And, we know that people matter, and people are now chasing tools and different things, and it's causing a lot of chaos, a lot of confusion, and a lot of fear as well. So I think we're just all trying to navigate this new environment we're living in, and it's really not easy.
When we are navigating and you see these patterns, one, you looked at the human pattern from the countries that you had embraced, but two, we have now these new patterns, this new level of information. And are we processing it in the same mindset? The framework where we start to see pattern recognition, and what is it that's unclear? Because our whole concept of walking victory is about not just the external clarity where we see what's happening around us, but an internal clarity where we can understand the processes by what we are using and the tools that we're using. What are some of the patterns that you're recognizing in AI?
Yeah, that's a great question. There's a lot of hype around it. And what I've seen, both through my doctoral work, but also working inside different mid-size companies trying to implement AI effectively, it's taking a toll on people, and I think it's not recognized exactly why. So, for one company, I did this full deep dive discovery, built them a roadmap, and just basically said to the founder and CEO, you guys aren't even ready for AI. Your systems are too broken. He got pretty mad at me, and I couldn't understand, I'm just trying to help, I'm just here to help you. But he was pretty upset. And what I realized is that AI creates pressure inside of organizations. So AI doesn't just add capability, it's compressing time, and it exposes weaknesses faster. Weaknesses in people, weaknesses in systems. So let me give you an example. Before AI, a broken process inside of a company could, limp along for months. Nobody really noticed it. Maybe there's someone there in the company, Joe, and it's like, why didn't Joe give me that report? Or why didn't he get this done? And it's like, well, it's just Joe, and we'll help him get it done, whatever. But now with AI, things move faster. And so that weakness shows up almost immediately. And we got this pressure building in a few places all at the same time. So you might have leaders feeling pressure to move quickly because everyone's talking about AI, and teams feel pressure to adopt tools even if they're not ready. And the system's under pressure because there's decisions and data and workflows. They're all being pushed harder before. And if you bring AI into a system that's not built to handle that pressure, it just cracks. And so think of this analogy. I used to ride a bike a long time ago. I don't care to now because my tailbone's too sore. But if I get on a bike and you get older, I'm 61 now. I got to be careful what I do. But if I get on a bike and the front wheel's a bit wobbly, I don't mind it too much if I'm going 3 miles an hour, 5 miles an hour. That's fine. That's most businesses. You can just wobble along and get things done. But AI says, hey, let's hit this slope and see how fast we can go. And now I'm on the bike with a wobbly front wheel at 40 miles an hour, and I'm hanging on for dear life, and I'm frightened out of my wits because I know this thing could crash any moment. And that's what's happening inside of companies right now with AI. It's just putting all this pressure on, and most businesses have wobbly structure, wobbly governance, and it's frightening everyone, and it's also breaking things. So
Yeah, it's like when the light is shined that you don't have a good infrastructure. Again, it's usually a crisis or something that happens that exposes it. But now when you put your things in and you're getting back this answer, you feel as if the agent is broken, and it's really not the agent. But it kind of breaks the spirit of the imaginator. It breaks the spirit of the executor if they don't really have the solution to fix the problem that is now glaring in front of them. As leaders, we can't rest without really understanding solutions, or we take offense when someone points out, as you did with the gentleman, that there's glaring holes in our infrastructure. What are some of the solutions that you think can help with this dam that's broken already?
Wow, it's a great question. Well, sometimes it might be the AI that's broken because you bring AI into a company and you think it's working well, but it often just doesn't work well. It makes things up. You might have an agent that is their job is to telephone. Like the agent calls a person that has a conversation, or the agent emails a client with an email, but sometimes they just go off script and no one can figure out why, and it's dangerous in that sense. But I'd say there's three things that owners or leaders of companies can do to be better prepared for this. So the first one, they need more clear ownership of an AI initiative. So think about this, like every AI initiative needs a real owner tied to a real outcome. And like I've seen situations where a team builds an AI workflow, maybe it's automating a client reporting or generating marketing content. It works initially, but no one owns the actual result. So when things start breaking, which they will, and prompts need updating, which they will, and clients notice inconsistencies, which they will, everyone's assuming someone else is handling it. And so the system breaks, and that's not a technology failure necessarily, it's an ownership failure. Who is responsible? What's their name? So that's number one. Second, you've got visibility. So, leaders of companies, they need to see what's happening. Not activity, but impact, right? Everyone can claim activity. I used AI for 2 hours today. All right, so what's the real impact? So at one AI consulting company I worked at, we could have 5 or 10 different AI-driven workflows running at the same time, like content generation and client onboarding and internal research. And on the surface, everything looks like progress. But when you ask, well, how much time did this actually save? Or did it reduce cost, and by how much? Show me the numbers. Did it improve quality output? And if there's no clean answer, you've got motion but no measurement. So first we have ownership, second visibility, and third is you have decision discipline. You need a way to decide what gets funded, what gets stopped, what gets scaled. So you might have multiple experiments running at the same time and different team members testing different tools and building automations. And some of them work. Maybe nothing gets formally scaled and you have to ask why. And the answer is there's no agreed process that says this is successful, this gets rolled out, this gets killed. And so everyone sits in this gray zone like, oh, it's kind of useful. But I mean, that's where value gets stuck.
It's funny because I think one of the biggest problems that I've identified is that we got into this whole content creation because AI can produce great content. But like my marketing teacher said when I first took digital marketing, going viral doesn't pay the bills. You're creating content without any kind of real true call to action that's going to make the customer make another move. And because the content is being created all the time, you have like Mr. B saying he put up so many X amount of reels a day, and people are like, oh, we can do that now. All right, so we have an influx of information now, and the overflow of information, without the revenue driver, which is the only thing that keeps the doors open. You can create one great piece of content and drive revenue, but now we have millions of content being created that all look like cookie cutters, and nobody's driving revenue. Is that one of the problems that you also experience when you look at the organizations who
Absolutely. And so, like one company I was working in recently, they had a marketing assistant, or kind of an assistant manager in marketing, and she was creating content every day. And I'm looking at the content, and she's using AI to create a lot of this stuff. And I'm looking at the content going, okay, so, but did this drive a result? Okay, so you think about, in the old days before digital, we had two types of marketing. You got, or advertising. You got institutional advertising, which is the big billboards, and you've got direct response advertising. So direct response, having everything is there designed to produce an immediate visit or call or telephone call or purchasing decision. And so if you put an ad out in the paper, you either get people walking your door or you don't. And small businesses, they can't afford institutional advertising like, hey, we're so great, but there's no unique selling proposition or value pitch or any reason why. So I'll just ramble a little bit more, because it kills me when you see this, and I was bringing this right into this person doing the marketing at this company, and you're saying, if you're not putting out on your ads your unique selling proposition or your distinctive advantage, you're not giving me a reason to respond to you and visit the website and buy something, then all you're doing is saying, here I am, and please buy from me because I have nothing special to offer you. Right? She's not articulating anything. And she's like, well, it just needs time. And I'm like, you've been at this for 3 months and there hasn't been one recorded purchase. Well, it's like, well, there might be purchases, but nothing tracks back to what you're doing. So marketing has to be accountable to what it says they're going to do. And maybe I'm a little bit more harsh than some, but if I see someone putting ads on Facebook and they're not getting visits to their website, and those visits aren't converting to sales, there's got to come a time where you just say, stop. Like, just stop doing what you're doing. Let's figure something else out. So.
And that's where we get to the point where people were saying digital marketing doesn't work. And digital marketing does work. It's just having the clarity of message, streamlining the message, value proposition, understanding customer. You still have to do the other part, regardless of if you have an AI agent or anything, because the agent is only a reflection of who we are subconsciously. So we have people in roles of marketing manager who doesn't know how to market. They make nice videos. That's not marketing. So is the problem? So just because I want to have clarity by the end of this call. From having this conversation with you, Dr. Bell, I see two problems. One, you may have the person in the nice suit that knows how to put together a fancy 60-second clip that gets clicks. So they describe themselves as a marketer. the other end, the agent is only going to be a reflection of what I put in. And as we discovered, the agent also gives ghost answers. So the agent is going to never say, hey, hey man, what's our goal? The agent is just going to keep producing the stuff that you prompted to produce. Two, if I don't understand that the agent needs to be reprompted, we're going to go over old inputs, and the agent is really going to start becoming more and more creative, but not in a way that's beneficial. Now we're 3 months in and we have no new sales, a bunch of pretty posts, and nothing is driving revenue. The CEO says something is wrong with the agent, or something is wrong with the marketer, or something is wrong with the product.
I would say it's the person who is controlling the agent. The agent is a tool in the hands of a person. If you're a carpenter and you're the carpenter and I walk up to a house you're building and all the nails are bent, I do not blame the hammer. I blame you.
Or the nail.
Right?
that nail is that nail had one too many.
Yeah. So the agent is in the hands of a person that has to be responsible for and let's use the word accountable for results. Okay, if you have a marketing person in your company and they have worked for 3 months and they have not improved traffic to your website, let's call it sales as well, that could be the job of sales, but they haven't put leads on a calendar, they haven't brought the right traffic to your website, maybe you just need to find someone else who can do it. Because just because you've gone to school for 2 years and got a certificate in marketing or got something off Udemy or whatever, doesn't mean you know how to market. So, and digital marketing, to be fair, digital marketing today is very hard. But I want you to think about this. Let's say I'm an average person with an average IQ of 100. And you come to me and say, Patrick, here's the bar that we've set for everyone the last 3 years, and we want you to achieve this. It's like, okay, well, in my natural human self, I should be able to achieve this bar. But competition's harder and older. But with AI, I don't have 100 IQ anymore. I have 180 IQ. Now, this bar should be reached in 1 week. The bar should be a lot higher. If someone can't reach the same level bar with 180 IQ and all the tools at their disposal, they don't understand the job. And so maybe just that person, you go in and ask them, invite them to go and work for your competitor. So
you can close the gap. That was a good one. So you're going, you're championing these talks. You're going on podcasts, not really exposing, but just having conversations centered around what it is that you see, these patterns that you recognize. What is the goal? What would you like to see happen, and how could we as organizational leaders, those who are listening right now, start to implement some of the things that can help reverse this course?
Wow, that's a great question. I mean, I hope, just from what I'm learning in my doctorate, that AI is not a tool problem, it's a leadership and it's a control problem. And what I'm hoping that people will see is that if you look at it as a tool problem, but you haven't walked through the mistakes and you're just kind of getting into this, maybe you're a leader in a company and you don't have good advisors helping you make great decisions that have measurable impact, You have to get around people that actually can help you make those decisions. So there's some like warning signs or something that you should look out for. And I'd say, the biggest one would be this. You're busy with AI, but you can't clearly point to business impact. So if I were to ask you, what has this actually changed in revenue and cost and speed? And your answer is vague. For me, that's a red flag. Another one's conflicting symbols. If I come into your company and I'm interviewing different people and say one team says, hey, this is working great. Another team says, it's a mess. And leadership can't tell which is true. It usually means there's no clear visibility or measurement underneath. So I might see a lot of scattered tools, different teams using different things. I'll probably see work getting redone. People don't trust the outputs. They're double checking, they're rewriting, they're going back to manual work. And then the final big thing, I'd look for silence in the room. Because if people stop talking openly about what's not working, or everything sounds positive all the time, it usually means accountability is unclear and no one wants to own the problems. Because let's say you're my boss, NaRon, and you come to me and you've got expectations for me, and I don't meet those expectations on my own, I'm not going to make myself look bad. I still want to look good in front of you so you don't fire me. So I'm going to now change how things work. I might pass blame to the AI or to someone else because I don't want to be accountable for the result. And so I change what I'm telling you, and now you don't get a full clear picture and you can't make a good choice. But if everyone's doing that, the CEO can't make good choices. So, I hope to help CEOs, C-suite level people just kind of understand that and see that, and, walk a journey with people and just kind of be able to whisper in their ear, okay, while you're doing this, watch out for this and this and this. And here's some good questions to ask over here. And, just to help people avoid that 1%, that 5%, 3%, whatever of missteps that they might make.
It's funny, and then I'll get you out of here on this. It kind of reminds me of the game of telephone. When we were in elementary school, it was we had a big class, about 40 of us, and the teacher would give the person in the front row a very specific phrase or direction, and by the time it gets to the person in the back of the class, the message is totally and the problem is no one could distinguish when the message changed. Did the message change in the second row? Did the message change facetiously? Because we have some bad actors in the room. And if you have no safeguards between the CEO and the person that they charge with the message and a marketer at the end of the room, then we'll be producing content without being connected to anything.
And then where do you blame? I mean, it has to come down to the leader who creates the system. So you have to create a system of visibility around it, and you have to create the feedback loops, and you have to create the dashboards. Because I guarantee you, if my work is shown up on a dashboard, okay, so we know from over time, if I'm accountable for my actions, and just like in the forget AI, if you're my boss and you come into me on Monday morning and you say to me, Patrick, here's what you're responsible for this week. I'm going to come back on Friday afternoon and check your results. Those two things, like that little thing, it might seem like oversight, but that little 30-second or 20-second sentence from you will increase my productivity 20%, hands down. Like that's just an instant, because I know you've given me tasks. I know you're going to check up on me. I'll get them done unless I'm a real idiot. Right, or run into trouble or something where, so things might get adjusted. But just asking that. And I think it's the same thing in AI, that like everyone's running amok and they've lost their common sense. And so we say, hey, Joe, go and create this agent, see what you can do, haha. And Joe's productivity might not go up because what Joe has no accountability. So if we can get visibility and accountability into the AI actions that we're taking, then you're going to have an increased costs, or revenue, decreased cost, or productivity or something like that. But you've got to have the visibility and the accountability. And so
even within the agent.
The agent, you have to be able to, so company I was working with, they built their own system. So for example, I designed an agent. It's the old Chet Holmes, the late great Chet Holmes model. So I wanted this agent to first send a ringless voicemail to a warm list. So they send the ringless voicemail. I'm going to follow up the agent will follow up the same day with an email. That's 2. 2 days later, and the agent has already done the research on this company by itself. So the email they send is specific to that company. Now, 2 days later, the agent will call the person, sounding like a real person, will call in, and their goal is to get that person on my calendar. If the person says yes, they follow up with an email that gives my calendar link. If they say no, well, you don't give up. 2 days later, you send another email with something valuable. And 2 days later, you do another phone call, and you can go back and 12 steps. Don't give up after 2, give up after 12. So I can design that, and I did design that, and the team put it into place. And the amazing thing is, the agent can make 50 phone calls at the same time. And it tracks everything, so it does great work. And now I'm forgetting your question, why I'm even going down this road.
No, it's the safeguards.
Oh yeah, okay. So there we go.
For the agent,
so now I know I can go in and I can examine every email, every text, every phone call that agent has taken with any given client at any time. I know exactly what the agent has said. I know exactly what the agent has sent. But the agent now does the work of 12 to 15 sales development reps for whatever fraction of the cost, but all of it is now visible. Most sales agents, they're like, oh yeah, I made 8 calls today, or 10 calls, or 50 calls. It's like, show me your transcripts. Yeah. No, I didn't make that. I was just on my private phone. It's like, there's no visibility. Oh, I'm sick today. Oh, I gave up after the 3rd attempt. Yeah, they probably wouldn't buy whatever. Agents, they don't take breaks. They might break once in a while. You have to keep on top of them, but they're just relentless, and they produce results. So,
and here's the tie-in, everyone. When you built this, right? You built it knowing what results you were looking for. A lot of times, if you're not at the capacity of CEO, you may be a small business owner, and you can't think on a level CEO. So you just know how to get sales, and then maybe local sales, and now you have this too. But you still need to either find someone that understands how to drive the revenue to another level, so that when you build something, that will always be at the forefront. I had, in true transparency, when we started this podcast, it wasn't for revenue. It wasn't for any of those things. I didn't have any idea of what I was going to attach. Didn't have a book, didn't have a system, didn't have anything. So it was just to have conversation. As we started, so when I started using AI for this, it wasn't to drive revenue, it was just drive exposure. Well, I had to sit down and redo my agents, because now I have a book. Now we have a platform. Now we have things that we're driving revenue from. So I come from being a content correlator. now looking at it from a standpoint of, okay, now how can this content produce bodies into the ecosystem where people, now I'm the thought leader and there's somebody say, I do want to read his book. I do want to invite him to come out and public speak. So the shift had to go from just creating content on a day in, day out basis to now creating content that drives revenue, or creating an infrastructure with building email lists and all those things at the end of the line. People don't value email lists anymore, but I do. So all of these things are important, but they were not important.
Well, we're part of this constantly changing environment. And we're part of marketing and business growth, which is this infinite field of knowledge, which expands and doubles every few months or few weeks. We can't keep up. But what we do know is that we have to get used to change all the time. And now we're in AI. Someone described it once. It's like business used to be a game of chess. Now it's a game of pickleball or something. Like, right? Before it's like, I'm going to think about where I'm going to move this rook or something. You think about and you're strategic. And like right now it's like, oh man, I've got to change. But I think there's some underlying principles and strategy that still rely on wisdom. And it still goes down to relationship. It's still about who you know and how you can connect and how you treat people, how you honor one another as you're talking to them. And, you know, the golden rule, doing for others what you wish they'd do for you if you were in their shoes. And just treating people like people. Well, one thing that's great for you as a podcast host is that you get to ask questions of other people, right? The most influential person in the room is not the person trying to be the most interesting. It's the person trying to be the most interested. And so if I come into your house and I'm just talking about me the whole time and how great I am, you're like, get the heck out of here. I don't want to talk to you because you're narcissistic or whatever. But if I come in asking you questions about your life and what you're doing, pretty soon you love me. And that's what podcast hosts get to do. They ask great questions all the time. And you draw these stories out of people. And you're sitting in a great seat. And you become the influencer, the influential person in the room, because you're the most interested person in the room. It's great.
Yeah, I kind of get these classes for free. And I was always nosy. So there you have it, everyone. Listen, we don't ask you for Cash Apps, Venmos, or any of those things. And I don't knock people that do, so don't take it as that. But what we do, we like to lead with value. And Patrick has come on and he's shared his expertise and shared his observations and how we can implement and start to adapt and start to think a little bit deeper as it comes and as it relates to AI and what it's doing for our products, goods, and services. All of his information is in the description. Go and follow him online. Continue to connect in their worldview. We are what we regurgitate. We are what we take in, and we regurgitate what we take in. So we want you to get into the ecosystem of our guest. And our book, Awakening I Am, Internal Awareness in the AI Age, is out. The link is in the description. You can get the audio book, you can get the physical book, and or the digital book. And all the links are there. And we have, for all of our entrepreneurs and thought leaders, we've created the Victory Builders. The Victory Builders is a platform that allows you to take all of your stacks, whether it's your CRMs, your emailing lists, your funnel, and it's all in one platform. So you don't have to guess when MailChimp is going to take their $20 or guess when ClickFunnels is going to take their $20. We've reduced the price, and we're not selling price, we're selling efficiency. each seat comes with someone to help you navigate through those problems, so you don't have to go at it alone. When I first did my website, I was so happy I got my square, and I'm sitting there and they gave you this template, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh, I need to hire somebody because I don't know what the hell I'm doing. And so we have so many people who have incomplete websites, but you don't have to have that no more. We are here for you. The Victory Builders is there to help you build and scale to the next level. Enjoy the rest of your day. Don't walk making excuses. Don't walk with your head down. Don't walk being unclear. Together we walk in clarity, but most of all, we walk in victory. Peace.